Hello and welcome! Silrace here with The Division. I want to talk a little bit about the doom and gloom surrounding The Division's Year 2 content announcement. And also talk about the end of The Division. Couple things first. Background footage is there for your distraction. Some of The Division gameplay. That's the deal I want to make with you here. If you don't want to listen to me talk about this stuff, just watch the background and enjoy some, The Division gameplay. Also, this is entirely my opinion. I have no allegation whatsoever. The fine folks making and updating The Division. So, you're free to disagree and agree all you want. Entirely my opinion, make up your own mind on this stuff. At first I wanted to talk about the, Division 2 Year 2 content, as in what all we are getting and all that stuff when it was announced. I didn't have the time to. And at this point that nail has been hammered in from all the different angles, so I don't really see the point. I'll just mention that something like loadout being added in Year 2, well, I am never against new features, especially when the features are good, but I'm hoping that they learn something for the Division 2 out of this and implement something like loadouts from the very beginning of the game. Simply because at this point me to a shooter game which does not have a loadout system in it. So yeah, we're getting some nice features. I mean, who can say no to loadouts, in all honesty? Like, can you give me a good reason why you wouldn't like to have loadouts in The Division? Right? Anyway, so we are getting good stuff, and they have also said that they are fixing bugs, which is always a positive thing to say. Because every game has bugs, and those bugs need to be squashed away, hopefully, forever. Now, the doom and gloom, of course we have people now saying things like, why would you play The Division anymore? Because there is no new, let's say, big content to come. Like, essentially, no story content has been announced, which is a kind of a big nail in the head of the game. Considering the story is what is so very gripping, at least to me, of The Division. The, leveling experience was fine, it was kind of enjoyable. The story is kind of strong. After all, it's one of those disaster scenarios which could have already happened in our real world. This is not a zombie apocalypse, this is something which we can all kind of relate to and be kind of afraid of. That this might still come in our real world. We may have something like this happen. And that is what makes it so strong, so relatable, and I'm really hoping that they really flesh this out more in The Division 2. I don't know if they will. No knowledge on that. I'm hoping, though. They could have brought us more things here, though, in The Division itself. They could have brought out branching storyline content, which was not finished, which would be open-ended. Just like The Division's story itself is right now not concluded. I am personally really happy about that. I don't need conclusion in the storyline of a multiplayer like this. I don't. But I understand many people would like to see the conclusion. However, what I believe they should have done for Year 2 is add kind of smaller, shorter story content which gave them branching storylines which they could conclude and follow up on in The Division 2. Just straight up. As something you or any one of us who has played The Division would have exported content and then realized during The Division 2 that, oh my gosh, I remember this stuff. This started in The Division. And now it's here. Anyway, that's besides the point. That's the stuff we are not getting in Year 2. That's kind of been announced that is not coming, which kind of creates the whole doom and gloom. We are not getting what people have really been wanting for a while. If you browse through, for example, the Division Reddit, there's a lot of people who have been asking for story content and it's not coming. And I understand the doom and gloom. I understand asking why play The Division anymore, because well, if the Division 2 is coming, there are other games you would rather play than the Division while waiting for the Division 2. Why do you play the Division? Because if the Year 2 content is this week, there isn't that many big additions for you to wait on and get ready for. What's the point in playing? The thing is, you can say that for basically every single multiplayer game out there. You can see that in subscription numbers for World of Warcraft. Whenever a next expansion is announced to be coming in like half a year, whatever, you can see the amount of subscriptions dropping like a rock and then surging up when the actual expansion comes. That's what happens for multiplayer games. Unfortunately. Or, well, unfortunately probably for the makers of the games, and unfortunately for all of us who would like somebody to play the game with as well, because it's a multiplayer game after all. And I understand your point. What's the point in playing the Division? Well, if we are talking about the end of the Division, because I don't want to drag this video on forever, because I do have things I could say and so on, there are a couple of things. One of those is that we all knew the Division would come to an end. If you consider the fact that very few actual MMORPGs come to the consoles ever, for a reason. One of those is the hardware of the consoles. Like, imagine a game like World of Warcraft, it really couldn't have been on consoles. From the point of view that it has by now survived essentially multiple console generations. It would have had to be updated for the next console generation. What happens with the Division is like, if they had built it up as a proper multiplayer, like an MMORPG style game, they would have had to basically drop the game when the next console generation comes. And the Division 2, are they building it for this current era console, or are they waiting for the next console generation and then taking the most out of that hardware? I actually don't have an answer to that. I don't know for sure. If somebody knows, please let me and let everybody else also know in the comment section below. And also let me know, would you prefer the Division 2 to be on the next console generation? I don't play the Division and I don't plan to play the Division 2 on a console myself. But I know there is a whole lot of people who would like to. And would you like to wait until that point and play the Division until then? I personally, if I was a console player, I would love that. Because imagine what happens if the Division 2 comes out on the current era consoles, and then you get the next console generation a little bit after that, let's say during the year 2 of that, the Division 2's gameplay. What would happen is you would be playing the Division 2 on the old consoles when people are getting new consoles. And maybe it would force Ubisoft to put out the, you know, Division 3 for the next console generation. And not necessarily even update the Division 2 to the next console. This is my issue with, you know, kind of my issue with multiplayer games which come on all platforms, because they are also tied to the console generation, to things which can be done on the consoles. However, the Division is still a successful game. It's still a good game, to at least to a certain extent. There are things which are wrong about it, but it's overall a good, successful game. If we look at the release, back in the day, like 10 years ago, games never really got away with really awful releases. But there are exceptions, and these days the competition is even more harsh on that front. The Division had a release which was kind of bug-riddled and so broken, but it grew over those and it still maintains a player base. It's still a successful game. If you put down your roast in the classes, you may remember that the World of Warcraft had a very rough release, and it grew up into a very good game. Although I can mention an example which did not. Vanguard Saga of Heroes by Sony Online Entertainment. A very rough, very broken release. Basically completely fixed. Half a year later it was a very good game. But at that point it had no player base, it was not a successful game. Very broken release, did not work out. Did not happen with The Division. And that's one of those reasons why I would say that Division is still very much worth playing. Because the foundation is strong here. They can build on that. And playing The Division, well, it doesn't cost you anything. Unless you decide to use the new cash shop which we have. Or you may want to, you know, do something else. Maybe there are some outfit setups you still want to buy on the Uplay store or something. But in general, playing The Division doesn't cost you anything. Unlike, for example, World of Warcraft subscription. And that is one of those reasons why I say The Division is still very much around, and it will be around, because it's free for folks to play, and it will be updated still. There are still features coming. I wouldn't give up on it. If you are having any fun with it at all, then why the heck would you stop playing simply because there was no story content added? If you enjoy the generic gameplay, the general gameplay you have in The Division, the whole shooting and looting aspects of it, why the blazes would you stop? Just because somebody told you that, okay, well, we're not putting in any more content, right? We're still playing StarCraft Brood War in South Korea. And actually there are still people in the West as well playing that game. And there hasn't been new content in that game for how long? Anyway, that is besides the point, and I'm now dragging on this video for too long. Thank you very, very much for watching. Let me know your own honest opinion in the comment section below. Like, really. Give me a very good reason to just drop the game simply because there was no big announcement for a year or two. Because I don't see the point myself. If you enjoy your game, then you enjoy the game. Whether they add to it or they, you know, don't. But that's me. Thank you very, very much for watching.